Hey, there's a lot of trap records out there. There's a lot of R&B records out there, and there's a lot of records out there that need a lot of sub frequencies and a lot of big bottoms. Big juicy bottoms. Shaking that bottom booty, baby. Sorry, we're talking about audio here. Apologize. Let's get into a really cool plugin that I just discovered, which is, I feel like I'm a little late to the train. Let's get into the Rootone by Leapwing Audio. Let's check it out. Plugin of the week.
You may ask yourself, how in the hell can he store this stuff for such a cheap price? This in a box, mark it for you, put it away, seal it. The fact of the matter is, I'm pretty drunk right now, and store it.
All right, so as always with the plugin of the week, I'm not here to show you guys exactly what every single plugin does and walk you through the step by step. This is what this does. Read the manual.
Jesus Christ.
I don't care about that stuff. What I care about, is it musical? What's it going to work on? So this is the Leapwing Rootone, and what it is a subharmonic generator with also a drive, color, attack, decay. It's got some other settings, but basically it's broken down into subharmonics. So there's a sub with a frequency crossover, right? So we can say, hey, let's cross over at 56 hertz, or let's cross over at 32 hertz. And that means 32 hertz to 10 hertz is going to be the sub here. The thump, 72 hertz to 32 hertz, and the punch 114 to 72. So you can see you can pull these up and down. This will go all the way up to 196. This will go all the way down to 110. I do like the control of the crossover frequencies. I think that's really cool, and that's something a little bit more fun to mess around with and a little more dialed in than say like a Voice of God, Little Lab's Voice of God, or other subharmonic generators. But I do like this interface. I think this is cool. I wish that it went up a little bit higher. Like this should really go up to like 400 even, for a punch. 196, like maxing out there is a little weird to me. But we're looking at the crossovers here. So I'm going to set these back to kind of, where they were a little bit. 104, we'll take this to 184, this to like 40. I think is a good crossover for the sub, and then down to 10 hertz, okay? Let's actually go only down to like 18 hertz. I think 10 hertz is a little too low. Okay, so now we have these subharmonic bands, and then we have the amount that we bring in of each of these. You got a drive, which will drive to the harmonic saturator, which you can bring in and out. Like you could bring this to 0, or you can saturate, which will basically saturate all the bands, and then you can send how much you want of that drive to the saturator. So like I can say 100% of the low end to the saturator, which might be really dumb, right? And then you have a attack and decay of each of these settings, which I think has to do with how much the sub frequency generator is, like the A and the D, right? So the attack, and then how long it holds out. Boo, boo. So I think that's important if you want to like lengthen a kick drum, etc. But let's get right into doing some real world stuff with this, because that's what I like to do. Let's hear it on an 808. This is just kind of a floppy 808, part of a record I'm working on that I actually had Voice of God on to give it some more sub frequencies. But let's see what the Rootone can do on this 808. And this is kind of a modern style, saturated already 808 that's really short. Okay, so let's hear it. Okay, so I like the 808, but I feel like it lacks sub frequencies, especially when I pop it in with the kick, which I'll do right now for you guys, so you can hear the kick and the 808 together. And hopefully you're listening on something that at least gets down to 30 hertz, right? So use monitors or headphones that get down to 30 hertz to really hear this sub stuff. But let's play the kick and the 808 together. So in this record, I realized the kick has so much knock in it, right? It has like that 400 to 200 kind of knock. It's like clonk, clonk. It's just punching you in the face. So I wanted to have the 808 kind of more sub frequency, taking up more of that rather than more of the punch. So let's lock in and let's turn on Rootone and see what it can do with this sub area, and maybe even the thump area, and just kind of see what's good for this. All right. And I'm just gonna start bringing these up. I'm gonna put the drive to 0, dynamics to 0, or I guess it's default to 100, so we'll keep it at 100. And we'll start to bring up the sub and the thump and the punch, and just kind of give you guys a little A/B of the different stuff with the kick and the 808, and then I'll solo out the 808 so you can kind of hear what it's doing only to the 808 and where the subharmonics are being generated. Okay, so you can hear sort of that sub-frequency generation going on. And then I'm going to just solo out the 808 so you can really hear this. And we'll bring up each band separately so you can hear kind of what they're doing. And then we'll mess around with this attack and decay to make sure that it's really, the sub-frequency generation is not like overlapping or decaying too long or too short, etc. So let's check it out. Okay, so one thing I'm not liking about the plugin on this source material that I don't think is working is it sounds like no matter what you have the attack and the decay on, it sounds like it's going boo woo, boo woo, boo woo, like it's a delayed sub thing that's happening, maybe because of the look ahead, or maybe it's getting confused with this 808 because it's just like so punchy, but that's not good. So I really don't like that about this Root 1 so far. Let's try messing around with the thump and see if we can dial in maybe a better frequency here. And we can bring this down and, yeah, like 32 hertz to 104. And let's bring this this guy, the punch, let's bring that down as well. So like 170 seems good. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this sub stuff down all the way. I don't even want to hear it. And yeah, let's try 104 to 32 hertz, kind of bring this up and see where that's at. Okay, so that's doing more of what I like. I think the sub frequency on this just doesn't work. It's sort of like folding back on itself. So Leapwing, you gotta maybe check that out. Maybe find a better way for the algorithm to really catch that. I'm not really sure what that issue is, but it's like rolling on itself and distorting. So let's start adding a little harmonics and just kind of see what this harmonic stuff sounds like. Now, obviously, this doesn't work with this kick because it's starting to get into that kick's punchy area where that's happening. So I'm gonna not saturate, but it's a cool like shift in harmonics. I thought that was a really cool vibe, like without EQing and compressing and doing other stuff. We're just kind of bringing in some new harmonic structure, which is like giving us kind of a different EQ curve almost, right? So that's really cool. So let's try this on. Let's try it on the kick drum. I'm just gonna bypass it on this 808, and let's bring it up to the kick and just see what it can do on a kick drum. Because I feel like it might be a little more at home on a kick drum, right? Let's just check out the kick drum, and we'll start bringing up this stuff, and we might even saturate it. Let's check it out. Again, I'm having an issue with so far with the sub frequency. I don't like the way that it's attacking and releasing, and I don't feel like the attack and decay here is really locking it in to be precise with the kick drum. Like, it's not going woo, woo, woo with it. It's going like go, go, go. And I don't like that. So I don't think I'd really like this sub frequency generator on a lot of things. I think I'd usually use the thump. So let's try using the thump instead. So that's pretty cool. I like the way that it's messing with the kick. I like the way that it's like filling out the harmonic structure of the kick, which really kind of helps like a really boring, pinned out kind of kick sound get more full and more like harmonic saturation going on. Messing around with the drive here, the color is basically, I think what they explain is like if you're over here, it's more like tape. At 0, it's more like tape saturation, and up here, it's more like tube saturation. Okay, so I like it like right in the middle almost, like 30, somewhere around there. So more towards tape on the kick drum, which makes sense, right? And then this is a low pass. So this is basically saying, hey, anything that's going to be 100 and below, that's where we want the harmonics to be set in. And you can bring that all the way up to 1000. So this is a pretty cool plugin so far, but I'm not like really sold on it. Like for 200, I think it's like $200, a little bit over $200 almost. And I feel like you can get just as good results with, Waves Max Bass and or Lil Lab's Voice of God, I also like the BX Digital sub synth, right? That's a really great plugin. It's like, I don't know, Leapwing, I think you're like a little overcharging for this plugin, to be honest with you. And I'm just doing an honest review of this. Like, I've never used this plugin, but so far, like using it on a kick drum and an 808 in like modern trap music, it just doesn't really feel like it's doing what it needs to do. It feels like kind of messy and sloppy. And it also feels like the timing, there would be a lot of like weird fold back issues on the sub generation. So I'm not really sure what that is, but I think that really needs to get fixed, or, maybe the trial version is just not working the way that it should. I couldn't really tell you, but I really don't like the timing differences on this. So that's the one thing. But this is the plugin of the week, and I wanted to show you guys a new plugin and something that I just got hip to. And just show you like, hey, on a kick and an 808, this is what you're going to get out of this. You can do some shaping stuff. So if you're, you're a producer or you're making like drum kits and stuff, I think that this could be a really cool tool to add like saturation or more low end or more punch, stuff like that to your kick drum samples. Maybe even a snare, like a snare that's like kind of thin. Maybe you can bring like some more body to it, some more kunk, kunk, without having to EQ the crap out of stuff, right? So I think it could be a cool tool, but so far for me, I'm like, I'd rather use something else, to be honest. But that's it, guys. That's the plugin of the week. And if you guys like the sound of the Leapwing Rootone, go pick it up. It I just showed you a couple examples. I'm sure it could be really cool on like acoustic bass, like electric bass, sorry. Plug in DI electric bass. You want more low end out of it. And what I've tried kick and 808, it's not really working for me. It's kind of cool on the kick, but on the 808, it's just kind of garbage for me. I'm not really feeling it. I mean, I think you have to have like a really clean sub source or bass frequency for this thing to really sing well. That's the one. Drop a comment, share the video if you like it, and share it with someone else that's kind of thinking about getting this plugin. And Leapwing Audio Rootone plugin of the week out.